ready.
You bet. Morning, and hope all of you had a good Memorial Day weekend. It's good to be here with y'all, and I know got some big meetings here today and tomorrow. But from our standpoint, looking forward to a big month ahead for our football team. Just guys getting back today, working out as we speak, and so I'm looking forward to getting back with them as well. The month of May, a lot of guys got a chance to get home, but I know that they put in a ton of work and got a lot of opportunities to go do things with teammates, found trainers and all that kind of stuff, and now we get back together and get to focus on us doing it together as our program. So, and then obviously recruiting is a big month for recruiting and camps as well. So, and then a little bit of downtime for July. I know our coach has been going nonstop. Really, when you kind of look at the schedule, they got spring ball, then they were on the road with spring recruiting, and now we're getting right into everything I just mentioned. So, open to any questions.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Matt here on the far left.
Kalen, does having been left out of the playoff last year, does that make you at all hesitant to support a 9-game league schedule, just on the thought that maybe it won't be rewarded by the committee then?
I'm open to whatever. I'm open to hearing the conversations and listening. There's certainly thoughts you have, but I can't say that they're concrete in my mind. Yeah, you kind of wonder what would happen if other people would have had the chance to play our schedule last year, and that would only get tougher. I know if you played a full SEC 9-game schedule, I know from our end going into this season, we're playing 10 Power 4 games with Florida State and Wisconsin this year on top of the 8 games. So I know we haven't held back at this point on anything when it comes to playing a tough schedule, non-conference wise. And so you would certainly have to look at those things as it applies if you played 9 regular season games that were all in the SEC. The question I have is, how do you really strength the schedule as you get more and more conference games? How do you really kind of understand what the strength schedule is from conference to conference? It's pretty easy with other sports when they play basketball, softball, baseball, whatever it might be, and you have all these non-conference games. So, that's beyond me to figure out. I'm just going to play the games that we can schedule and adjust accordingly as we change, the SEC games, if that's the case.
Kalen, you said it's a big time for recruiting right now. The House settlement still not approved. Questions about clearinghouse enforcement. When a recruit comes to you, hey, what can my red shirt look like at Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
How do you answer that question? Like, you think it's coming pretty soon, but we don't 100% know. And like, how do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that's certainly the question we are working through right now. And that's even just with our own team. We have a full team on campus right now, and I believe still a lot of those guys that were walk-ons are actually have their name in the portal because they have to be able to adjust. And we've fortunately got some guys that really want to be at Alabama in those walk-on roles, and if the roster size was reduced, they and we would have to adjust accordingly there also. But as we get into June here, those conversations are tricky when you don't know the parameters you're playing with. But I feel confident we got a competitive. We got an understanding a little bit of the baseline if this goes through, and that's really what we're working off of at this point.
Let's go to Colin back here and back left.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, you're in the middle of your second recruiting cycle. I'm curious. The brand of Alabama is obviously different when you pitch recruits, but I'm curious, with the resources that you have at your disposal, has that kind of changed your ability or your pitch to recruits, or kind of what does that look like with, I guess, compared to your other stops?
Which part the change?
Yeah,
or?
with the amount of resources that you have
Uh-huh.
on your disposal to, I guess,
Yeah.
lead toward football recruiting.
Yeah, I mean that's always been a big part. We pitch that a lot, and when guys come on campus and they see our players using the equipment they're using that is different than other places, and seeing the depth and magnitude of our staff, our facilities, there's a lot of work that's been done in the training room weight room. We have great facilities all around, and then you add the tradition, what it's like to play in Bryant-Denny Stadium. The list goes on of the things that we continue to, that continue and just like always have brought guys to our program. And then, of course, I think selling our staff is really easy because they get around them, and our players are as good as any when it comes to recruiting because they just do what they do. They are who they are, and that's very attractive to the guys that are going to be coming onto our campus here over the next month.
Front middle.
Kalen, I know you're going to hear about playoff formats, I assume, this week. But do you have sort of a general basis of like, here's what I think would be okay, maybe a number or something like that for a playoff format? I know the devil's in the details, but do you have a general idea of like, 16 maybe sounds good, 12, 14, do you have any preferences on what you think a playoff should look like?
I don't right now, and I'm wide open to that. I know I've been part now. I mean, we weren't in the 12-team playoff, but obviously saw what that looked like, and I've been a part of 16 playoff at smaller colleges, and that was just 4 weeks of of games, and so I don't think you're probably looking much beyond that as far as the number of teams entering the playoff, but that's my experiences, and so I think there's also just the details that go into how those teams are picked, how they're seeded. I think that's a lot of it as well. So I'm certainly open-minded to either of those and everything that comes along with it.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. It sounds like the how you get to those teams might be more important than the number of the teams.
I think that's probably a lot of what's going to be discussed here today and tomorrow, and how we feel about that. And I think a lot of that has already been kind of set by Commissioner Sankey.
Let's go to Steve, front row.
Coach, you mentioned about the guys coming back on campus from a health perspective. Can you give us an update as to coming off of spring, how healthy the guys are?
Yeah, well, there will be a group, and there's too many as a whole that still coming off of last season, missed some time during spring ball, but there'll be a pretty good group that now is in full swing, and just a few guys that have what we refer to as limited or limited contact. I mean, there's not contact now, but limited, and just kind of monitoring their situations as they go through the month of June. But by the time we hit August, we feel very confident that we will have everyone back and be ready to roll at the level we need to. So guys are pouring everything into it right now. They are almost over the top with the work that they want to put in because of the desire they have to want to be great and have an amazing season, and really coming off of last year, want to prove some people right and prove some people wrong.
Let's go all the way back middle.
Coach, reflecting over the last year, what would you tell the Kalen Deboer before he walked into the room last year about what would be ahead for him in his first year at Alabama?
I think a lot of it was just the early piece, just understanding what the timing of it was in January. I think that was the hardest part. The season and the ups and downs have been a part of that. I think a first year is always is extremely hard because there's going to be things that come your way that you just know are going to be hard to handle, and a lot of times it's the wins and the losses that I'm talking about. But that's I think last year it didn't play itself out like you want, but I think a lot of the things that came weren't so far-fetched when it came to what you expect a first-year season in the SEC to be at Alabama. It's going to be a grind. It's going to test you as far as staying the course and just test our team as far as sticking together. That's going to be every year, and it just is another level, I guess, when you really look at guys leaving the program and not getting an opportunity to really bring too many in just because of the timing of when the transition happened. But we're in a good spot right now because I think our guys have really we've kind of really found out who wants to be here. They've really dug in deep. We got a great mix of upperclassmen that understand what it takes, mixed with some young guys that either got their feet wet last year or coming in, and have been really accepted in a way that they feel appreciated by the guys who have gone through it. So I'm really looking forward to this team this next 6 to 8 months.
Anything unique or different about being in the South or Tuscaloosa on a lighter note that maybe wasn't anticipated?
I think when you move around, I'm from the Midwest, I think there's a lot more Midwest in the South than people probably realize. I mean, yeah, there's different levels of heat because it's hot and humid, that kind of whole thing. That's the question I get asked, the most is how you handle the weather. But I think when it comes to people, there's just great people everywhere, and I've lived in different parts of the country, not necessarily on the East Coast, but from Michigan and Indiana on over to the West Coast. You find that there's more similarities than there are differences.
Got time for a couple more questions. Start right here from the middle.
Kalen, what do you think of this idea of Vern playing weekend instead of, or maybe in addition to conference championship games? I mean, you played, like you said, in playoffs so long. Does it get to a point as a coach where it might be too long? Is it like creating risk, or could it be exciting?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you have a chance to be in that, because to me a play-in game is kind of still part of the playoffs, and I'm thinking just generally speaking, not specifically about Alabama. I think that that adds to the excitement. It keeps more people interested in where their team sets. But I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about how that would look and how that would relate to a conference championship or anything like that, and what those weeks, how they would all add up to what we have already to find a national champion. So I think there's a lot in the next couple of days that I'll probably learn, just like all of us, and hopefully keep the ball moving to where we can figure it out and what's best. I don't know if there is a perfect solution. We just got to figure out what's best for everyone involved.
Go far right.
How challenging is it to go from coaching a quarterback with Jalen Milroe's skill set versus another quarterback with a different skill set?
Well, I think with Jalen, he just had he had added elements to his game, right? So, I mean, he could throw the ball, but you had to make sure you were utilizing to benefit your team the things he could do with his legs. And, I think that making sure you're incorporating more offense where he can take advantage of that and we can take advantage of that, then forces you to have to figure out where are you taking away, because there's still only so many snaps you play in a game or a season. Who's touching the ball, and it's going to take away from someone else, and you're trying to figure out that balancing act, and a lot of it has to depend on the other personnel you have around him, and that will continue to be the case as we move forward this year. We do have probably with three guys that are more alike than different, because Jalen was certainly different. I mean that in a positive way. I mean that with the utmost respect for what Jalen's game's all about, because he's got some special elements to his game when it comes to running that really I have never been able to coach, or very few have seen.
All right, last question right here.
How do you handle the evaluation of quarterbacks in this period of time when you're not practicing yet? But I imagine there are some things you can watch, leadership, intangibles. How do you handle that in June?
Yeah, in June, we get more opportunities now than you used to a few years back to be around them, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. And so, yeah, there's leadership. I mean, these guys all were doing things through the month of May on their own. And as much as they don't have to let us know what they're all doing. You do know, because position coaches are keeping track of all their guys and understanding the workload that they're taking on and where they're at. And these guys did a great job, all three of them, of really doing some of those leadership things and going places and bringing guys together. And the best part about it was it wasn't like one quarterback took three guys and another quarterback took these four. They all did it together, and that's what I guess I appreciate about this group of guys. And it is a competition. I've referred to it as a healthy one, just because I think they all respect each other. They're all going as hard as they can. They're going to step on each other's toes at times in that leadership role and things like that. But so be it. And again, I appreciate the way they've gone after it. June will be a big month for them to take the next step. In the end, I mean, we're tracking everything when we get into August, just like we did in the spring. And it doesn't always come down to who had the highest completion percentage, because sometimes it's so close. It's a lot of times a mixture of, you know, who's moving the ball down the field the most. I mean, that's what's most important, right, is putting points on the board. And so, you know, who's keeping the ball, who's making the least amount of mistakes, big mistakes in particular. And then you're also just trying to give them all a chance, because they're at different points in their career where their growth is happening in different ways. No one has significant amount of playing time reps in a game, but obviously they are at different levels and all have different things that they've shown us that they can do at a high level already this spring.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Ken.
Thank you.